Loaf, what do you think about losing the match?
We louts are angry! We are sore! Mad Dog and Killer cheated! Next time we see you guys, it'll be in the street! We'll break your bones! We'll grind you into putty! We'll tear your faces off! You haven't heard the last of us! This is war! We are generals! You are the enemy! Beware, Mad Dog! Beware, Killer! We know where you live! We know where your parents live! We will have our revenge!
Greatest promo ever. Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger. Gonna talk a little wrestling. Want to get some time to that. I was gonna do this a little earlier, but I didn't have the house to myself then, so I do now. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit. Survivor Series last night. Think about what's coming out of it, what interests me. A lot of people talking about the main event and thinking it's great. I really haven't gotten as excited for what happened in the main event of Survivor Series as much, because we had these three guys debut from NXT: Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns. I do like the name Roman Reigns, though. That's a pretty cool sounding name. I'm not familiar with these dudes. I know Dean Ambrose, a lot of people was on the Indies. A lot of people say he was great. I know Seth Rollins used to be in Ring of Honor, but I don't watch Ring of Honor, and I have no idea who Roman Reigns is. But just because I like the name, I guess I'm most interested in seeing Roman Reigns. I'm interested to wait and see what happens. So I'll be watching tonight. It's actually 6:15 p.m., so Raw will be starting in about 45 minutes. Hopefully I won't fall asleep. I really can't do the 3-hour Raws. I always fall asleep during them and just end up catching them the rest in the morning. I fell asleep during Survivor Series too. It's weird that I'm getting so sleepy because I'm not really doing anything at all right now. I haven't, I finished my job in Korea like in August, the beginning of August, and now I'm just waiting until January when I'm starting grad school. So it's like 5 months where I'm doing absolutely nothing at all. Just sitting around my mom's house relaxing. Trying to get in touch with financial aid people, but they off this week because now it's of the holiday. So anyway, I like what happened with AJ Lee and Vicky Guerrero last night. It's about time they really started pushing AJ as a wrestler now. They've spent the year getting her super over. She's, without question, the most popular female in WWE since Trish Stratus, probably, and eventually she's got to start wrestling again. And they did the thing with Vicky, where they said, the board of directors said that AJ touches Vicky, she'll get fired. But AJ said last night, the board of directors said that goes both ways. So if Vicky touches AJ, she'll be fired. So it looks like Vicky has enlisted Tamina to help her, and that's a good feud to start with for AJ. I mean, eventually, I think you need to build up to AJ versus Eve. It'll be a Divas title match that people are really interested in. Eve's a great heel. AJ will be a great babyface, and it's something people want to see. But AJ needs to start a feud to start with, and excuse me. Tamina's a good place to start. I mean, I think you could have a female version of Austin McMahon. I mean, of course, it won't be as big as Austin McMahon, but Vicky's the evil boss, and since she can't beat AJ herself, she's gonna have her lackeys do it for her. I think it's a good way to bring in some new women, because the Divas roster is very thin. So is the Knockouts roster too, but I'm maybe talk about that in a little bit. And I was reading that they're talking about bringing up some of the women from NXT. Maybe they look to the Indies to bring in a few women. I mean, you're gonna need some people to feud AJ to feud with to eventually build up to her going after Eve and the title. You're bringing up women in. You're coming up on January, and I mentioned this in a video a couple months back. I did a video about women's matches I'd like to see. And I've always thought it'd be cool to have a Divas Royal Rumble. I was thinking they could do that. It could be like a a smaller version, of course. You know, like a 10 Diva Royal Rumble match at the Royal Rumble to open the show. And the same thing, get a shot at WrestleMania, and AJ could win it, and then she could go into WrestleMania to face Eve Torres. I mean, really build it up. You have, for the first time, a potential Divas feud. Well, the first time in a long time. Not the first time ever. It's been a long time. But what you have here is a chance to build up a Divas feud that people will really, really get into. You have a heel that's over in Eve, who's the champion. People really hate Eve and love to boo her. And you have a babyface in AJ, who, just because of her smaller size, makes her the underdog in any match. And I think people will really get into seeing AJ, you know, overcome the odds, build her way up, eventually get her title shot against Eve, and win the title at WrestleMania. I think AJ beating Eve for the Divas title at WrestleMania could be a big WrestleMania moment. I think it's one of the few Diva WrestleMania moments you can have if they do this right. You know, I might go into a little fantasy booking mode here for just a minute, but I'm going to just keep it minor. Just looking at the Divas roster, I'm going to bring up the Divas roster real quick. And, you know, you're going to have to bring up some of the women from NXT just to fill out the roster here. Let's see. Divas. I'm on the site right now. Alright, so if you're starting with Tamina, you can get a good pay-per-view out of Tamina. You only got December to work with if you're going to do a Divas Royal Rumble. But you can don't have to do it the same night as the Royal Rumble. They can maybe do the Diva Rumble the night after the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. That's something that's possible. So that, you know, AJ has another pay-per-view to do a few with. But you got Oksana eventually. It seems to be Eve's lackey. Got Alicia Fox, who just kind of flip-flops between face and heel. You got her former friend Caitlyn. It would be face versus face, but, you know, AJ was kind of a bitch to Caitlyn when she was in Power, so I'm sure they got some unsettled business. You can do face versus face with Layla for a bit. Maybe they finally let Naomi wrestle. That could be a potential match. And you got Natalya. So you got a few women on the roster you can work with. And then you look at NXT. Give me a second, bring up the NXT roster. I don't even know how many women on NXT. I actually don't watch NXT, like, ever. Alright, so I've seen Paige, and I think I've seen Audrey Marie wrestle. I think she's one I've seen. But I heard Paige supposed to be really good, so that could be somebody. And I don't know if Shaw Guerrero's ever going to come back or what's the deal with her, but that's a possibility too. Of course, there's some other women that people know. You got a couple of people who've been in TNA that are still available that you could bring in. You know, you got options. But I hope that WWE would really build towards AJ winning the Divas title. It'll be the first time in a long time they do a Divas feud that I'm really, really interested in. And I hope they don't just rush it. What else do I want to say? Is this thing with CM Punk going to become some kind of faction? You know, people have talked about that. I want to say more about it, but again, I'm not familiar with these three guys. I've heard of them, but I've never really watched much of them, so I don't really know what to say. What else? Not a whole lot else I want to say about the pay-per-view. I mean, just those two storylines, just with the WWE title and AJ going forward. That's what only thing I'm really interested in going forward. Couple of thoughts on some TNA stuff. Thought Turning Point was really fun pay-per-view. I really liked it a lot. Thought it was weird the thing with Bobby Roode and James Storm. I'm wondering why did they have James Storm win at the pay-per-view just to have him lose his title shot to Roode on the next episode of Impact. Like, why not just have Roode win at the pay-per-view? It seems kind of weird, and it makes me wonder what happens next with James Storm. I mean, I look at James Storm right now. I mean, I can see him, joining the fight against Aces and Eights, but that's about it. Really, my favorite thing about the Turning Point pay-per-view was the mixed tag match, ODB and EY against Tara and Jesse. And the thing is, the problem I always thought that ODB and EY had was that they didn't have any other couples to feud with, so they're doing this program with Tara and Jesse, and it's been really fun. I like the matches. It's funny, good comedy. I have no complaints about it. But like I mentioned a little while ago, the Knockouts roster is kind of depleted too, and I'm thinking, they need a story to bring in some new Knockouts, or maybe bring back a former one. That's cool too. And I was thinking about the Aces and Eights. Now, I'm gonna take a second and give a spoiler warning because this next part involves a spoiler for this week's Impact. So I'm gonna give you a few seconds if you want to click away. So here's your spoiler alert. Alright, that's enough time. Okay, so EY gets beaten down by the Aces and Eights this week on Impact. That's what it said in the spoilers. And they said like ODB's cuffed to the ring and can't help him, and he gets beaten down and stretched out. And this could be a catalyst to build up ODB and bring in some new women. Because, the Aces and Eights took out her husband. They can just do an injury angle that he suffered major injuries and they're not sure when he's going to be back. So she wants revenge. She wants to try to fight the Aces and Eights by herself. Because ODB, she a crazy bitch. She'll think she could take on all these mass dudes by herself. But they don't fight her. One, because Spike TV has the no male on female violence rule. But storyline wise, they'll say, Aces and Eights doesn't promote violence against women. But we can handle you. And you could just have some masked women attack ODB. And then they can unmask, and you could be maybe 2 former knockouts or 2 new ones. It could be the returning beautiful people. That's an option. Sarita and Rosita, they can say they joined up with them. They hadn't been on TV in months. They can just do a whole thing about how TNA's been holding them down. TNA won't give them title shots. TNA's been doing this, so they decided to side with Aces and Eights. And they could take the Knockouts tag titles from ODB, just steal them and hold them hostage, saying we're keeping these. We're the champions, even though they're not the official recognized champions. That could work pretty well. You could bring back some former knockouts, maybe, I don't know, maybe Roxy or Alyssa Flash. There's options. Or you can just use an excuse to bring some new one. That Leva Bates girl was on Impact 1. She was that girl about a month or so ago, before Bound for Glory, the one that sprayed Hogan and Sting with the mace. Yeah, she's a wrestler. Her name's Leva Bates. They could bring her in as one of the women, and they could feud with ODB, and that's their way to bring in some women. And then ODB's trying to fight them by herself, and then she gets outnumbered. So maybe Aces and Eights has, like 2, 3, 4 different women with them. ODB can't fight them all, so you have some other women come to back her up. So now the Knockouts are involved fighting Aces and Eights. So you have the new girl Taylor Hendricks. She could be babyface and say, I'll stand by ODB. I'll fight with you. Right. Mickie James won the #1 contender battle royal, so she's going to be feuding with Tara now for a little bit. So Tessmacher's free, so Tessmacher can side with ODB. ODB, I got your back. I'll help you fight Aces and Eights. So you can bring in, 3 women to represent Aces and Eights, and you can need 3 baby faces to fight them. So you can have ODB, Taylor Hendricks, and Tessmacher. They could side with her to help fight Aces and Eights. Velvet Sky still listed on the roster, even though I'm not completely sure she's back with TNA yet. Because they still have Ric Flair on the roster. So until You know, until I see Velvet Sky back on TV, I'm assuming she's not back with TNA. I don't know what the deal is. So, you know, that could be a storyline used to bring in some new women into TNA. So 3 or 4 women to represent Aces and Eights. ODB's trying to fight him, and she gets Taylor Hendricks and Tess Mocker to back her up. You can get some good matches, some 3-on-3 matches or something like that. And maybe that's how you bring back Velvet Sky. They need help and they bring Velvet back or something. I mean, you got options here. All the previous gut check winners are going to be on Impact this week, so I'm looking forward to see that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it on Thursday. I don't know what my family's going to be doing for Thanksgiving. I mean, I expect us to get together at my grandmother's house for dinner. I don't know how long I'm going to be there. My sister's coming to visit, and she's bringing her son with her. I don't know what all we're going to be doing, so I may not be able to watch it till Friday. Anything else I want to talk about right now? Check the time. 15 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, recap, you know, looking forward to see Impact this week. Looking forward to see what happens with Aces and Eights and what ODB is going to do with that. Looking forward to Raw tonight, see what happens with AJ and see what happens with this WWE title thing, see where that goes. Oh, I got a question. Does anybody know how come Jesse Goddard is wrestling on TNA and TNA is just announcing him as Jesse? How come they're not using that name? Because on the roster page they have him listed Jesse Goddard. It's like, but when they have him on show, they just announce him as Jesse, which sounds shitty when Christy Hemme tries to announce it like it's something cool. Does anybody know why they're not using his name Jesse Goddard or his nickname? You know what I mean? This guy has been on TV for a couple of years now. He has a following. He has a fan base. He has an established nickname. He's Mr. Spectacular Jesse Goddard. Why don't they call him that? Does anybody know if there's some specific reason why they're just calling him Jesse? As if we don't know who he is? If you know, let me know. Yeah. So I think that's where I'll stop. It's 6:31. Raw will be on in a little bit, so I'm gonna grab me something quick, eat for dinner, and watch Raw. Maybe I'll talk about Raw tomorrow. I don't know what I'll be doing tomorrow. So anyway, this is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. If you like my videos, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TJSMITH3. Have a nice day.